For the first time this season, welcome inside Sport Chek's flagship location at West Edmonton Mall. It's the panel, Tom Gazzola alongside Bob Stauffer, Jack Michaels from the Oilers Radio Network. A week ago, we were talking about the Oilers being 4-1 heading into the Heritage Classic. Here we are at 6-1, and we were saying, hey, we should tap the brakes. It's only 5 games into the season, and today, as the Oilers get set to go to Vancouver, they're 6-1. And are we thinking this team, okay, this might be legit now, or what are we making of this 6-1 start here?
Well, certainly among the first 7 games, there's 2 quality wins. Now, both were at home, but you're talking about the St. Louis Blues and the Washington Capitals, 2 of the league's elite. I don't think there's any question about that. The last 5 years, I think the Blues have the most wins in the National Hockey League, and the Washington Capitals are coming off a 120-point season where they became the first team in 40 years to go through an entire regular season without losing back-to-back games in regulation. They've done it now. And one of the reasons are the Edmonton Oilers. So 2 quality wins among that 6-1 start. I don't think it's time to plan the parade, but I do think it's time to consider the fact that the Oilers are going to be around for a while.
Bob?
Well, and for me, it's really about the process, in terms of what the team's trying to build and the building blocks were put in place. You've got an experienced general manager, an experienced coaching staff. They've added some experience in the wings and on defense. They got a better roster, better team, a goaltender that's coming to the forefront now and establishing himself as the number 1 guy in Cam Talbot between the pipes. I mean, there's a multitude of reasons why this group, I haven't even mentioned Connor McDavid, collectively is a better hockey club. It's exciting to watch, but I think they've just scratched the surface. I think there's a lot more room for growth here at Edmonton right now.
Oh, and by the way, they hold the leading goal scorer from last year to a goal, and they beat the Vezina Trophy winning goalie 4 times for that win. It was an impressive win. What do we make of, you bring up balanced attack and the goaltending, Bob. What about the demeanor of this club? Every time you talk to them in the room, what do you make of the way the attitude is kind of shifting as opposed to what we've seen in prior seasons?
I'll start just by saying, I look at how they respond when something bad happens in a game, and in the past they would crater. We would see, there were some teams that weren't even, they weren't even that secret in terms of their approach. We'd see stuff written on the whiteboards, check, 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 this team will spit the bit, that sort of thing. And right now the Oilers are showing that they can take a punch back. That happened last night against the Washington Capitals. Ovechkin scores early in the period, and you're thinking, uh-oh, here we go again, here comes the surge. And the Oilers recalibrated. McDavid led a brilliant rush up the ice. They finished it up, and they're back up and 2 goals out in front. To me, there's maturity, poise, and professionalism that's starting to be illustrated on a game-by-game basis with the Edmonton Oilers.
Think of how they've closed the last 3 games. Against St. Louis, a 1-1 tie going into the 3rd period. Edmonton won that period, had quality chances. Jake Allen made a number of great saves, or the Oilers could have pulled away to maybe 4, 5, 6-1. Then against the Winnipeg Jets in the Heritage Classic, after spotting the Jets some good chances in the first 10 minutes, Edmonton, opportunistic, scored 3 in the 2nd, and then the Jets got nothing in the 3rd period. Just absolutely nothing. They closed that game out. And then, as Bob mentioned, the come from behind situation was never a factor. The Capitals' scoring chances, instead of increasing as the period wore on, with them becoming more desperate, they actually dried up. It's the way they're doing it and the way they're finishing games, and quite frankly, the way they're defending in their own end against teams that previously could dominate them.
I was going to bring up the defense really quickly. Are they kind of flying under the radar here with all the goals we're seeing in the play from Cam Talbot, or has it been much better than what we've seen in years prior?
Well, they have a way better defenseman, for one. There are 3 defensemen better than they finished last season, right? You take a look at it, and you've got Sekera was brought in here to be a top 4 guy. He's playing about the right minutes. Oscar Klefbom is still quite raw. He's played under 120 games in the National Hockey League.
His partner's helping him out, though.
Yeah, well, and Adam Larson's played a firm, competitive, hard game. And then Chris Russell, I know you and me have talked about this. He might be,
He might be team MVP.
Right,
that puck out.
Well, he's great puck retrieval skills. So their defense is better. Their goaltender's stopping the puck. He competes. The guys like him. And they've got support from the forwards backtracking. There's a lot going right for the Oilers right now.
All right, the Oilers head to Vancouver for a Friday night matchup with the Sedins and the Canucks, and then back home for one. and then hit the road for 5. Guys, just let's take a quick peek at the road ahead, if you will.
Well, look, if you want to get excited about Edmonton Oilers hockey, we'll see what happens in the next week. I mean, this team is now rife with prosperity. They have every reason to puff out their chest, but now you got to take that on the ice. Vancouver's a little beat up. You got to take care of the Canucks. You got to come home and play an Ottawa Senators team whose performance vacillates from game to game. Let's see what happens once Edmonton leaves Canada, gets on the road for an extended trip. There's still time to be cautiously optimistic, but right now things are trending in the right direction.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a real intriguing 3-game coming up because all 3 of these teams
Eminently winnable.
They're winnable games, but they missed the playoffs last year, and the Oilers right now are better than all 3 of these teams. But they got to play to their level, not to the level of their opponents. Cannot be a drop-off here.
We have to see how the Oilers handle success. Oilers and Canucks, Friday night from Rogers Arena, 8 p.m.